In November 2024, Clark County voters elected a new county councilor of District 4. Recently, we spoke with Clark County Councilor Matt Little to learn about his background and find out his priorities for office.
Hello, I'm Jim Demo with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thanks for having me.
First, congratulations on your victory. Please tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I live in Camas with my wife and two girls, and I also work for a nonprofit small business called Ducks Unlimited. It's actually a large organization that works on wetlands conservation across North America. I cover the western states, and I also led a couple nonprofit businesses before that here that focus on conservation. Cascade Forest Conservancy is one of them, and World Salmon Council that teaches kids about salmon. And then a long time ago, I used to work in Congress. So I worked on the Senate side and the House side for members of both parties. And I worked for some federal agencies and loved working on that stuff, but came out here a little over 20 years ago to just be closer to salmon and elk and the Northwest. I just love the Northwest. And so that's why my family lives here. And my girls are at Camas in the schools there. And yeah, I just love this community.
Where did you grow up?
I'm from Minnesota.
Minnesota, okay.
Yeah, and then I went to school out east, and then I ended up in DC because ever since I was young, I wanted to work on public policy, especially as it relates to natural resources. And so I ended up going to Dartmouth College and getting a biology degree, and then my graduate program was a master's of public administration because I knew that someday I wanted to work in government and work on policy or run nonprofits, which I ended up doing both.
Great, great. So why did you decide to run for county council?
I really just love this community, and I lived recently in the unincorporated areas in 5 acres with a beautiful orchard and all sorts of wildlife, and I saw development happening all around me, and to me it felt unorganized and a little haphazard. And that was just a layman's perspective, but as I learned a little bit more about it, there was something to it, that a lot of our decisions are piecemeal. There's an opportunity to do something here and there. And I really wanted to be part of that decision-making process and try to make it more planned and try to look farther out into the future and plan the community that we want to grow into. And I have little kids here, and they're going to grow up here, and I've run some nonprofit businesses here. So I really care about the strength of our economy, and I just want it to be a community that people want to live in, grow up in, have businesses here, and I just want it to be a thriving place. And I love it, so I just want to keep it a really awesome place to live.
Great. So what were some of the major issues you heard while out campaigning from voters?
I heard a little bit about planning, that we need better planning, that we have a lot of sprawl going on. But really the biggest thing that I heard from the community is that everything is so expensive. Everything from housing to just buying groceries to services, and people are getting squeezed out. And that really worries me. I have a lot of friends who are in that situation, and I just read the stories, and I just feel like that's another reason why I wanted to run, to try to help that situation, because it's not really our fault what's happening, but there are some things that we can do to make it better. So,
Okay. So how have you been transitioning to your county councilor role?
I've been learning a lot, but I love it. My whole life is policy, so I can't believe the new issues that I get to work on every day. It's just an honor to be able to work on these issues. So I love it. It's very busy to have 2 basically full-time jobs. I know that this is officially a part-time job, the county, but in reality it's pretty full-time with the meetings that we have, the constituents that we want to respond to, and just doing our due diligence to serve on all these committees and be knowledgeable about what we're doing. So I'm enjoying it immensely, and I'm also just crazy busy. But I signed up for this.
Okay. So what are your top priorities for office?
You know, I really came into this just to be a good representative of the community. I'm an independent, and so it's really important to me to listen to all sides and represent them, because I'm empathetic to all issues. And I feel like with my background, I'm well situated to represent people from all walks of life. And I do have an interest in my heart in planning, as you could probably tell from the previous questions. And I have some ideas of how we can work outside of the Growth Management Act or in tandem with it to look beyond the 20-year growth horizon that you have to plan for. You just plan for 20 years of growth in the GMA. And I'm hoping to propose, and the council has agreed to do a work session on a thing called TDRs, which isn't going to solve everything, but it's this transferring of development rights is a program that you can use to look 100 or 200 years into the future and plan for the rural areas that you want to keep intact, and also grow more aggressively in the urban centers that you want to create more walkable communities with mixed services and where homes are near jobs. And that stuff just really resonates with me.
Okay. So comp plan update due by the end of this year.
Yeah.
So what are some major issues left to be decided?
Yeah, I ran in 2020 because I wanted to get at the front end of this planning process, but I didn't make it that time. So we're at the end of the planning process for this round. There's not a whole lot of the decisions that go into the comprehensive plan that are left, but we will make the ultimate decision from the city's proposals of which things to include in the urban growth boundary and not include. But there's also a new provision that you have to consider this year on climate change and the impacts to climate. And that would be really interesting, how we make decisions to be in compliance with that new requirement, because there's so many factors to this, including how far people have to travel to their jobs, so where houses are, and the transportation options that they have will go into this decision, and we have to look at it comprehensively, or else we'll be out of compliance. So I'm actually really interested in this part of it and looking forward to diving deep.
Okay. What are your thoughts regarding the expansion or remodel of the county jail? I saw you recently had a tour.
I did. I am so glad I got that tour. I know very few people get to see that with their own eyes. And it's an emergency situation in my mind that we need to provide better space for people for their own recovery and treatment. When you walk in there, it's very claustrophobic. It's been overcrowded for a long time, and there's just no space for people to live, relatively any kind of normal life there and think that they're gonna recover and get better. So that is really the top priority the county has. The problem when you rebuild or renovate a jail is it's incredibly expensive. So this is something that we have to tell the public is a top priority, and why? Because it's going to cost us all some money, and it's going to require taxes for that, probably. We'll have to put a bond out for it, and it's a multi-million-dollar jail where we're hoping to build out on either side of the existing jail to provide all these services and just an environment that is just much more inviting. You're just walking through these concrete hallways and people are really packed in there, and it just doesn't seem humane to me. So for me, that's top priority. And you asked before about issues that I heard from the public. Public safety is probably the third issue that I heard about the most. We not only need to renovate our jail, but we need to provide more sheriff deputies out there, and just more opportunities to keep our community safe.
Okay. Homelessness continues to be a major issue facing the county. What additional steps would you like the county to take?
Yeah, I'm very interested in working more proactively from the county's perspective on homelessness. That was part of the reason why I ran as well. And we have a couple opportunities in front of us right now to work on that. And that includes the bridge shelter, which is a project that the city proposed, which would have a lot of extra beds for people, but also would have treatment in the building itself for people. And so now that we have new county council with slightly different priorities, I think we are all going to be able to come together and work with the city in partnership to try to find these solutions for people. And bridge shelter is one of those solutions. So we're really excited to work together with the city on that.
Great. What opportunities do you see for Clark County?
Opportunities?
Yes.
In general?
In general.
Well, Clark County is growing very fast, and we have an opportunity in front of us. If we can plan farther out, we can create a community that still contains our rural working farms, and people can still go with a short drive to just see beautiful nature, for one thing. But also we have all these economic development opportunities in front of us now. I think almost all the cities have some sort of waterfront development project, which is just going to bring in a lot of new visitors and economic growth to our community. I think we need to wrap our arms around those areas and just try to build them up as much as possible, because our county is just an incredible place, and it's only becoming better. And so I think the opportunity for me on the council is to help support that. And a lot of what we do in the county is provide funding. And so as we prioritize our funding to promote those kind of things, economic development is going to be key, as well as where we put all our homes, our businesses, and our natural areas, so that it makes sense and it's a place that people want to live in and work in.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to share with viewers?
Well, I would really like to invite the public to become more directly involved with us. Only a couple people come to our meetings, and I know a lot of people try to participate online, and you can do both. But an interesting thing that we do that is different than the legislature, my background is Congress and the legislature. A lot of decisions are made behind closed doors in those settings. And you don't really hear about it till they come to the floor and make speeches or make an amendment. The interesting thing that was new for me in the county council is that we can't deliberate in any way outside of the public purview. So we can have a conversation with one of the 5 other councilors, but you can't have a conversation with one and then go talk to another about the same issue if it's something that we're going to deliberate on. So the county may participate and watch us and think, wow, they don't seem very organized or all that smart. But that is probably because we are deliberating on that issue for the very first time in the public view. And we need input from the public. There's always a comment period for our agenda items, and we invite people to come in, send us emails, and tell us how you feel about that, because we are deliberating it probably for the very first time in these meetings, and we just need as many perspectives as possible. I am not an expert really at anything. I hope and I think I'm a good listener, but I need to hear from a lot of folks to understand how to make a good decision. And so I guess that's a little insight of how county is different than a legislature, and probably most people don't know that, but I like it. It makes sure that the public is aware that we are making good decisions, that we are transparent. It's a little clunky for us sometimes, and we're not able to prepare as much, so we're doing things live a lot. And so We really need the public's input, and I think this is a county council that is very open to that now, more than I think they have been in the past. And I really love all the members on the council. I think we work well together and enjoy each other's presence, and everyone adds a little bit something to the debate. And the public also probably knows this, but we each represent certain districts. I represent the Camas, Washougal, Hockinson area, and there's 5 districts. But we all, once we're elected, we represent everyone. So anyone can come to us and bring their opinions. And yeah, I love the job, and I'm just excited to be here and very honored that I have this opportunity.
Wonderful. So best way to citizens to contact you?
Probably the email address, which is matt.little@clark.wa.gov.
And we also put up the phone number 564-397-2232. That's the county councilor's office.
Okay, yep, that works too.
Okay, well, thank you so much for meeting with us, and best of luck in your new position.
Thank you.